Hi, Felicia here. Today, we want to talk about the postgraduate identity crisis. This was something that plagued me for 2 years out of school, and I've only been graduated for 3. So I thought it could be interesting to interrogate the mindset shifts that helped me feel better about my life. Just some context on how I felt about identity back in school. I think the 2 main influencing factors was having a sense of control over my identity and having that identity be very fluid and free. I went to Yale, where we had total freedom to choose what kind of classes we wanted to take. Because of that, I could be a new person every 6 months and look up to different professors and engage with different classmates and circles in school. It also made me really scared of corporate life. I was really worried about my identity being flattened. There was a strong sense of like, if you went corporate, you were selling out. So what has changed in the past 3 years that's kind of got me over the postgraduate identity crisis? After graduating, I took a job in tech and I moved across the US to the Bay Area. While working a professional job, I felt like it was really important to maintain a regular writing practice. When I first started out, I was still very early as a writer. It was only something I discovered I could sustain in my senior year of college. Because of that, I sought out a lot of affirmation extrinsically and trying to get kind of that sort of short-term gratification. What was actually necessary was just maintaining that practice over the course of multiple years and feeling a sense of certainty. Like for me, I played a sport growing up. I played that sport since I was 12 to when I was in college. That was a big part of my identity, simply because I did it every single day. And so I think there is this aspect of time. If control is something that you want to have over your identity, considering that aspect of time and growing that identity over time is really helpful. The second thing is accessing that sense of freedom outside of college. One of the big things that changes when you leave school is that your social networks are super different. So right out of college, the people that I surrounded myself by were predominantly family, coworkers, and friends from school. I think that's still largely my social network, but I've also been going to more local events for specific interests. So lately I've been going to a lot of poetry events. Being able to engage in interests with other people is super important. And if you don't necessarily find that in your existing social networks, events hosted in your local area, or even engaging online, though that hasn't been as gratifying for me, is something that can be really helpful in terms of accessing that freedom. The third thing is being open-minded to your interests changing. In this past year, I've learned that I really like talking to customers and stakeholders at work. I also really like public speaking. These are things that I might not have taken as seriously as new interests. In fact, these interests have broader applicability because I've kind of learned that I actually just really like communication. That can be literary, but it can also be this. It can be talking about a tech product that our company built. Being open-minded about identity opened new connections between interests that I thought were previously quite disparate. If you're watching this and you're a student and you're worried about post-grad life, or you're like me, just a few years out of college, I'm sure that y'all will find your footing, and I hope that maybe these things can be helpful as new pieces of advice or just reminders. That's all.